there's been a bunch of rain over the past few days, and I took a trip down to visit my parents, and I spent a lot of time organizing my workshop container and cleaning up stuff in general, getting myself more organized and stuff like that. So I haven't gotten a whole lot of actual construction type of work done. I took a few videos of myself, not myself, but just clips of like me attempting to take some branches down off of this, mostly off this ash tree. It's about, I would say 7-8 feet away from the cabin. It's pretty big. It's not huge, and there still is, but there were a lot more branches that were extending to the top of the roof. Whenever the wind blows, it will like rub against the roof, and you can actually see parts of the roof where the paint has been taken off because it just kept on rubbing against it. Over the weekend, when there was good weather and whatnot, I was attempting to get as much of those branches off as possible. Basically, I got them all off except for one, and the one that remains is pretty friggin' high. I would say it's about 25 feet up. I did get a ladder up there. There's a ladder. There's the cabin, and it goes way up. Right now it's wedged between two big branches, so it really feels quite stable, and I feel like even if a big branch fell on it, the ladder wouldn't move. So I did watch some YouTube videos on people trying to use a ladder to take down branches. Basically, the general thought process is that like it's not recommended. You see a lot of videos of people just failing. Most of it seems to be due to the fact that when you cut the branch down, it tends to fall like near or on the ladder. So when you have a big branch coming down with a lot of force and it hits the ladder just goes like off to the side, and then you're done basically, right? And I saw some videos that in a lot of the situations, like the person could have died or been seriously hurt, right? And I'm sure a lot of people were seriously hurt in a lot of those videos. So I understand the dangers of climbing a tree on a ladder and trying to take a branch down. Now this last one, okay, before I get to the last one, the ones that I took down using the ladder, they were quite small. So let's say this wasn't the branch, but like an inch thick maybe. Put it next to my face, 1.5 inches. And they weren't that long, so like even if it fell down on the ladder, I don't think it would have budged the ladder at all. So I had some that were in that boat, some that were like low enough that I felt quite safe doing it on a ladder. So I think I've cut down about 6-7 branches. There's one that remains. It's like a little bit bigger than the ones I've cut down so far. I would say it's about 2 inches. And is it diameter? Yeah, it will be diameter. But it's up there. It's really up there. And the ladder, the way that it's wedged between the branches right now. So the ladder is there, and then the branch that I'm trying to cut is to the left of the ladder. Basically the branch right above the window that's hitting the roof. As you can see, yeah, so I'm looking at this backwards, so that's what's confusing me. But basically the branch that I want to cut is right above the window, And with relation to the ladder, and I guess the way that I'm looking at it right now, it's to the right side of the ladder. But if I was looking at the ladder and not through this camera, it would be to the left of the ladder. It's not that close to the ladder. I'm right-handed, and the branch is up to my left. My hand is still at like 80%, and it's not that flexible because it's like pretty stiff from the surgery. So I don't feel comfortable using my left hand. I don't want to hold a power tool with my left hand. And if I was to use my right hand, I would have to reach all the way across like this, or kind of go with my back on the ladder using my right hand. And that's not happening when I'm up 25 feet. If I go high on the ladder, I'm actually going further away from the roof. So I kind of have to reach to the back of me to start cutting that down. That doesn't feel very safe. So I could reposition the ladder, but then I would have to lean it against that big branch that's leaning towards the house. And I don't feel super confident that the ladder would just stay there. Let's say I was cutting the branch down and the branch fell on the ladder. That could cause the ladder to slide off that branch, and then I would die. So what are my choices? I've been researching, and basically one of the tree people say if you have to go up a ladder to cut a branch down, you basically want to climb the ladder, and then you tie a rope around the branch, not the branch that you're cutting down, around the branch or the tree trunk, and then you tie the ladder with it, and then you harness yourself into that rope. So let's say the ladder slides off, or it gets jerked off for some reason, then you're still hanging on your harness from the branch or the tree, and you have the ladder with you. So you can perhaps try to position the ladder back so that you can climb back down. So that felt like, all right, that you could end up in a bad place, but at least you're not gonna die. And if worst case scenario, you call the fire department if they come get you. So that was one option I was thinking. And then I kind of thought, maybe there's some better tool for the job. So I actually went and ordered it's like a chainsaw chain, but you put it on rope. Basically, you can they give you like a throwing bag, and you throw it over the branch. You put the chainsaw chain up there, and then you start pulling on the ropes, and then it cuts the tree down eventually, the branch down eventually. The issue with that is I've heard it tends to get stuck on the branch a lot due to pinching, and it can also take a long time. I did decide to order that one because that felt the safest option to me, and I already have the ladder up there, so if it pinches, then I can just climb up the ladder and try to unpinch it that way. And I'm willing to give that a shot for $30 or whatever that is. But there are a few other ideas that I got talking to my friend. He actually says he ratchet straps the ladder to the tree and then just climbs up the ladder. He's an avid climber. He feels very comfortable just climbing up the ladder without any harness and just like holding onto the ladder for dear life. I'm not really at that point, so that could be an option. But what I would do is, as I'm climbing the ladder, I would harness myself into the ladder, and the ladder is ratchet strapped onto the tree, so the ladder's not gonna fall as long as you didn't make a mistake with the ratchet strap. So like even if you were to fall from the ladder, you're still harnessed into the ladder and you wouldn't die. So that would be another option. Another option I thought of was, all right, the ladder's leaning against the tree. You climb up with a ratchet strap and you ratchet the top of the ladder to the branch. So even if the tree that you're cutting falls on the ladder wouldn't just collapse onto the ground. You would still kind of have a chance of like holding onto the ladder or again, you can harness yourself in up top. You wouldn't die and you wouldn't lose the ladder. What are some other options? All right, I thought maybe I can get a pole saw. A lot of them just end at, you can only get them up to 10 feet. That would mean I only have to climb like 15 foot of the ladder instead of 25 feet of the ladder. So I could climb up the ladder to a certain point and then use the pole saw. So that's another option. I found a pole saw online. It's like a 20-foot pole saw. Basically, it's not powered, but you keep on adding extensions poles onto the pole saw, and it can reach up to like 20 or 25 feet. And I felt if I bought that one, it had a good chance I could reach that branch from the ground or just a few lungs up the ladder. So that's the brainstorming. As I've said before, I'm gonna go with the chainsaw chain method. If I get stuck doing that, I'll try some of the other options that I talked about. I do take chances. I feel more than, I don't want to say other people, but I do tend to take chances, but not really where it's like I'm gonna lose a leg or I'm gonna lose my life type of situations. I'll take chances where the risk is monetary or time. Like if I mess up, then I'm gonna have to do it over again, or I'm gonna have to spend more money to fix it, that type of stuff. Actually, there's one other way I can take that down is I could rent like one of those crane things in a bucket. I forgot what you call them, but that can basically bring you up there to take it down. But I don't want to do that to like take down one 2-inch branch. So if I actually had to rent something, I would try to schedule other projects with it, like doing stuff on the roof and taking other branches down around the property in order to maximize the rental, but not just for one branch. So all right, so that's where I'm at. All right, so I'm still working on the clean out, but I think I'm done for today. There's a lot of broken glass on the ground for some reason. I'm guessing in some previous iteration of this house, basement and ownership, someone was storing jars down there, glass jars, and a bunch of them got knocked over, broke, whatever. I was picking up a lot of debris from the ground. I was trying to get, there's like plywood, like super old rotted plywood on the ground that were just like falling apart as I was picking them up. And then the main beams that go, I guess, the length of the cabin, they're basically just log trunks that were flattened on the top, and the bottom part that you can see from underneath, it's just still a round log, and nobody ever took the barks off them. So unless the barks fell off by themselves, they were still stuck on there. And from what I know, you're supposed to take the barks off the trees so the moisture doesn't get trapped in between the bark and the log. And once the moisture gets trapped in there, it's going to start to rot, which is exactly what happened. So I was taking the bark off, and here's all of it, at least what I've done so far. That was my dad calling me to tell me to watch a show called Homestead Rescue. It's basically a show about different homesteads, and it's kind of like bar rescue where they're doing a really bad job and someone goes in and tries to help them and stuff. Does it apply to me? Maybe, I don't know.